At the Cooke County Courthouse, a legal battle is raging. A man convicted of capital murder decades ago claims he didn't get a fair trial. And now the very people who once prosecuted and defended him are under scrutiny. Tonight, senior investigative reporter Tanya Eiserer takes us inside the high-stakes courtroom showdown in Cooke County.
At the Cooke County Courthouse, there's a battle.
When a prosecutor hides evidence, that dirties every other prosecutor.
The current district attorney says the former DA broke the law.
We won't turn a blind eye to injustice.
She's now Cooke County's only elected felony court judge.
This calls into question the integrity of maybe 30 years of convictions in Cooke County.
There's an agenda here with this DA.
How has this affected the criminal justice system in Cooke County?
I think it's destroyed it.
The idea that this guy's been in prison for 28 years because he's innocent is a joke.
"28 years ago, a man named Michael Newberry was on trial for capital murder in Cooke County. Janelle Haverkamp was the district attorney. She is now the district court judge. Court filings by Newberry's attorneys accuse her of hiding evidence in the trial. John Morris was the defense attorney who represented Newberry at the time. He's now a misdemeanor judge for the county. The court filings accuse him of representing Newberry's accomplice, which would be an ethical violation. And what's most unusual, the current Cooke County district attorney agrees the conviction should be overturned.
We're talking about somebody's liberty, and when you restrict that by not playing by the rules, that is egregious.
To understand how we got here, let's go back to 1996. Granville Hanks was murdered here on Hancock Street. The investigation soon centered on two gang members, Lilton Dion Moore and Michael Newberry. Newberry, then 17, turned himself in.
And then I kept on pointing the gun to his head, and next thing I know, I heard a shot.
After 13 minutes, the detective turned the recorder off. 37 minutes later, the detective turned it back on. That's when Newberry changed his story.
Stop. You sure? Have no reason why.
We spoke to Newberry's original defense attorney, Judge John Morris. Do you believe that confession was coerced?
Oh, somewhat, yeah, because the confession was made before I ever got to be his lawyer.
The jury heard Newberry's confessions during the trial. He received an automatic life sentence.
To say this was a false confession and this man was convicted of a crime that he did not commit, that is absolutely not true.
Newberry lost all prior appeals of his conviction.
He was very adamant about this was not a robbery at all. But that's what it was painted to be.
Amber Newberry started looking into his case. She scoured police records and transcripts. She found something that surprised her in the detective's police report.
I'm not a lawyer, but I know this can't be right.
The report said the accomplice, Dion Moore, talked to his attorney, John Morris, before giving a statement.
And John Morris was subsequently appointed to represent Michael Newberry, the co-defendant. It's called a conflict of interest.
Judge Morris denies representing Moore.
I don't remember him even calling me or any conversation we had.
This past month, Newberry's wife and dozens of his supporters converged on the courthouse for what turned into 2 days of hearings. They want Newberry freed and Judge Haverkamp held accountable. The main question, did Haverkamp follow the judge's order to turn over evidence that could have helped Newberry's defense? That evidence included statements given by his accomplice about why they approached the victim. Originally, he told police they intended to rob him. A month later, he told a grand jury it was to sell drugs.
The DA would be obligated to turn over any evidence that indicated that this wasn't a robbery.
Here's why. In order to be convicted of capital murder, which carries an automatic life sentence, Haverkamp needed to prove Newberry was involved in killing the victim during a robbery. During the hearings, Judge Haverkamp took the stand in her own courtroom. She testified none of the statements or grand jury testimony would have benefited Newberry, so she wasn't required to turn them over.
They're putting her on trial, but she doesn't deserve to be on trial.
From the stand, Judge Haverkamp said, "You're forgetting the defendant confessed twice."
This is ensuring a conviction by making sure that the other side doesn't have the information it needs to prove that that's not true.
Judge Morris testified during the hearings he never received Moore's testimony or the witness statements.
What kind of difference would that have made to you in trying this case?
Well, it would have made a big difference because it would have indicated other suspects.
Do you think Michael Newberry got a fair trial?
And that's not. I'd say yes, he got a fair trial.
But if you didn't get everything that you needed to defend him, then how could he have gotten a fair trial?
I don't know that. I can't answer that.
Today, because of so many wrongful convictions, the law now requires prosecutors to turn over everything.
If this case were tried under the laws that exist today, we wouldn't be here.
Judge Haverkamp has recused herself from 120 pending felony cases in Cooke County. She recused herself after the current district attorney accused her of being personally biased against his office.
There's no political vendetta. I think that we need to keep our eye on what is important.
What should happen to Michael Newberry?
If they decide that Mr. Newberry should receive a new trial, we will dismiss the charges against him, and he will go free, and I believe that after that, justice will have been served.
A judge will soon issue findings on whether Janelle Haverkamp withheld evidence, but it will be up to the Court of Criminal Appeals to decide if Michael Newberry gets a new trial. I'm Tanya Iser, back to you.